Hey there, how's it going everybody? So in this tutorial we're going to be learning how to georeference our raster images, as in assigning coordinates to raster images that do not have a coordinate system. So in this case we have Google images that were screenshotted in order for this tutorial to be successful. Okay, but in actual work we could have a photogrammetry project whereby we just took images from the earth, and then we assigned ground control points. So for each and every image we're going to be having ground control points. So let me just show you the images that were taken. So these are the images that were taken, and we have our ground control points which are in this geodatabase file. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to import all these images into our ArcGIS Pro project. So to do that, I'm just going to navigate to catalog, and then I'm going to tick in each and every image that I want to import into our project. So I'm just going to leave out this one image because it seems astray from all the images. So I'm just going to say add to current map. Okay, so before you import your images, first thing that you have to do is you have to first import the control point dataset. As you can see here, we just imported our images and he told us that our map sources are missing coordinate systems. So the purpose of this tutorial is for us to fix that problem. So I'm just going to remove this image from the notifications bar. Okay, so like I said, you have to first import the points dataset in order for your default coordinate system to match their control point. So now what we need to do is we need to select, or we need to turn off most of our images which we're not going to be using for the first exercise. So I'm just going to turn off all these images and just leave the first image which we're going to be using for our georeferencing exercise. So let's just turn off all these images. Okay, so I'm just going to leave image number 55. Actually, let's start from image number 58 going up in order for us to have a more ascending order. So I'm just going to leave that image first, and then I'm going to select this image. So now what we need to do is we need to navigate to our geoprocessing tool, and we find that under our imagery, and then we click on georeferencing. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to tell our tool that we need to use this specific coordinate system whenever we're going to be georeferencing in this exercise. So to do that, we're just going to navigate to set SRS, and then it's going to open a dialog which has a coordinate system. So it tells me that the current XY coordinate system is the WGS 1984. So I'm just going to click. I'm just going to agree to that and say OK, because it's the coordinate system that I want to use. Okay, so with that being said, now what we need to do now is we need to add a control point. So to do that, we need to we need to click on control point, because now we need to assign the images to these control points. First of all, I'm just going to label these points in order for us to know which one is which. So I'm just going to go to label. Okay, so while it's labeling, I just want to show you one thing before we go on further. I'm just going to go back to our images folder. So as you can see, we only have images and we have our geodatabase control points here. So I'm just going to go back here after we do our first georeferencing and show you a little difference which is going to occur. Okay, so now what we need to do, we have added our control, we have clicked on our add control points. So now we need to zoom to layer here on our image, on our raster dataset, which you want to georeference first. So as you can see, it has opened the raster image. So as you can see, we have control points. Like I said, when we took these images, we had ground control points, and on our photos we marked these control points to match the ones which are on the ground. So as you can see, we have 4, 2, 1, and 3. So I'm just going to zoom in to 4, to this marker, and make sure that I'm on the center of that marker in order for us to minimize errors. So I'm just going to click on the center here. Let's just wait for that to load fully. Okay, so I think it has loaded enough for us to be able to click on the center. So just click on the center there, and then I navigate to my points here, to my points dataset, and then I also go to zoom to layer. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to look for my control point, which is also labeled with the same number 4. So I'm just gonna find the one which is labeled 4. I think it's somewhere. It's 1, it's 2. So there's my 4. As soon as it gives me that blue circle, I'm just gonna click it and match that to that. Okay, so it has dragged my image. So now I need to define my transformation parameters. Okay, so there are quite a lot of transformation parameters that we can use here, but since we already saw that image has 4 control points, we're just going to be using the projective one because it's a bit more accurate. I'm just going to select the projective. Okay, so before we go any further, we need to see whether our transformation is within the right steps. So to do that, we're just going to open the control point table and see and check our residuals to see if we are within range. So I'm just going to open the residual table. Okay, as you can see right now we still have a residual of 0, 0. So let's just do the second matching to the other point. So I'm just going to navigate again to my image, use number 48, and then I'm going to click on zoom to layer. So it's still opening the image. Okay, so just gonna click on number 3 there. So I'm just gonna click on the center. Okay, I've clicked on the center of that image. Let's just wait a bit. My computer's processing memory is a bit slow, so it takes a few seconds to completely load the image. Okay, so I've clicked on the center of the image, which is the point which is marked 3. So I'm just going to go back to my points there, and then I'm just going to zoom to layer, and then I'm going to look for the point number 3. So let's just take some time to do that. And okay, so I'm going to look for point number 3. There seems to be some overlap with the first matching that we just performed, so I'm just going to turn off the image layer in order for us to see. Okay, so there's our point number 3, and we just have to match this to that. So as you can see, the blue circle appeared, and then I'm just going to click on that again, and then we have matched that to that. So I'm just going to open again our control point table. So every georeferencing action that we perform, it adds to this table. So now let's just perform another georeferencing. Okay, so let's just go back to our image number 48, and then we go again to zoom to layer. Okay, so you've seen that our image has now been dragged to our point right there. So if I click zoom to layer, it should allow me to be able to zoom to that image's extent, as the image has already been dragged to our current point. So now it's a bit easier for the last 2 points for us to georeference. So we're just going to click on this 2. Let's just wait for it to load. And then I'm just going to click on the center there, and then I'm going to match it to this control point, and that's done. It should automatically move, but I think it's because of the processing memory. As you can see here, it's trying to process. Okay, there it has been moved. So now I'm left with the last point, which I'm just going to say zoom to layer, and then I'm just going to try to drag that point to the control. Okay, it's almost approximately at the same point, but I just need to make sure that it's an exact fit. Since we have quite a lot of images that we need to georeference, we need a lot of accuracy in this process. So just gonna click on the center of that image, and then I'm just gonna align it to this one. Okay, there it has been matched, and it's still processing in the background. Okay, so now we have matched all the 4 control points on this image. So now what I need to do is I need to show you the control point table again and check to see if there are any errors within our residuals. So as you can see, now our residual values have changed a bit, and this is 0.000004 residual. I think that's a quite fair number in terms of our transformation parameters, which only means that our error is 0.000004, which is quite acceptable. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to save this. We need to save this transformation that we just did. So there we have saved. So I'm going to show you our file again, where we had our images, and show you what they've changed. I'm sure you can notice that we have 2 new bodies here in our file. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you what this means. This means, as you can see, these files are also named with the image number that we just worked on. It's 48.jgwx, and this one is 48.jpg.aux. So this is basically this is an XML source file which contains the transformation parameters in order for this image to be able to have abilities to be mapped into the real world. So I'm just going to open this with Visual Studio Code so that you see what exactly I'm talking about when I say the parameters. So I'm just going to open that. Okay, so now we've opened that aux.xml file. So you guys don't need to understand this file, but I'm just gonna need to show you what it contains, which helps it map these points. Okay, so as you have seen in the beginning of this tutorial, we defined our coordinate system as WGS 1994. So that has been indicated by this line here, where it defined the coordinate system. So like I said, you don't need to understand this because it's gonna be a lesson for our tutorial, but also our coordinates have been assigned over here. As you can see, our coordinates were within Zimbabwe. So these are the coordinates for the points that we just defined. Anyway, so let's just go back to our project. Okay, so now we have saved our georeferencing style, like we have saved, so it has become gray right here. So what we need to do is now, as you can see, these are all our control points, and this is our image here, which has been repositioned to be aligned within our control point where it originally belongs. So I'm just gonna zoom this in, and as you can see, this is our image file. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to close this georeferencing in order for us to perform the second georeferencing. So I'm just gonna click on close there, and it has closed our georeferencing again. So we georeferenced this point, which was 48. So now we need to georeference point number 49. So I'm just gonna select on 49, like what we did with 48. So I'm just going to repeat the steps that we did at first in order for you guys to see again, in order for you guys to really see what we actually did in the first place. So I'm just going to go back to imagery, georeference, and then now I'm going to set again our SRC. Okay, so we're going to be defining our coordinate system, and WGS 1994 is the default, so click on OK. And okay, so that's been said. Now I need to navigate to my image here. I'm going to click zoom to layer, and then I'm going to click add control point. So we see that again in this image we have control points 2, 9, 8 on. So I'm just gonna zoom into point number 2, and for us to have a clear visual so that we can focus on the center mark here. And then I click on the center mark, and then I go to my points dataset, and then I zoom to layer again, and then we look for point number 2. So let's just give it some time. Point number 2, point number 2, point number 2. There's point number 2. The blue circle appeared, and I click to point number 2. Okay, so I'm just going to turn off this layer again in order for us to have a clear visual. Okay, yeah, as you can see there, we already okay, so these are points. Okay, so let's just go back to our image again. So I'm just going to click on zoom to layer, and we're going to be trying to match on the other control points. So I'm just going to click on number 1 this time. Okay, so let's just give it some time to load. And okay, so there's our point number 1. So I'm just going to click on the center there, and then I've navigated on the center. And then now we're going to be going on our points dataset. Zoom to layer again, and then we're going to be turning off this 49 for us to see number 1 clearly. Okay, so this is our number 1, and then we click. Okay, so we're gonna go back to our image again. I'm just gonna open up this image. As you can see, it's already been dragged to this within this control feature dataset. Okay, so I'm just going to open zoom again and try to match the existing control points. Okay, so there we're going to be matching on point number 9. So let me just zoom to point number 9 and try to match it to its control point. So let's just wait a minute. Okay, there we have it. I'm just going to match it there, and it should automatically drag to that point. And then I'm going to say another zoom to layer, and for us to see the full extent of this image. And then I'm going to zoom again, and the last point is going to be point number 8. So I'm just going to click on number 8 center, and then I match it to 8, and then it's going to have okay, exactly, so it has been transformed again. Okay, so now I'm just going to click on save, and then it's going to automatically save everything that we just did. And I'm just going to show you the control table again. Okay, so this is control table for this image. It's image number 49.jpg. So I'm going to show you the folder again. So as you can see, around image number 49 we have these other files which have been added to it again, which contain the same information that I just showed you, but obviously the coordinate systems are going to be different. Sorry, the coordinates are going to be different, but the coordinate system is going to be the same. So I'm just going to close that and go back to our GIS project, and then okay, so I have saved this, so you guys can continue georeferencing all this. I'm not going to do this for the sake of time, but as long as you have seen how you guys can do it, so I'm sure by now you know how to georeference. So I'm just going to show you a little extra feature that you guys can use. Okay, so you guys can actually save this as a new raster file. If you click on save as you can see, it's telling you that we can save this as a new output raster file. Okay, so yeah, you can save this as an output format. You can select as NV, SRB, SRBIP, SRBSQ, GIF, JP2, JPG, PNG, or whatever format you might want to save this as. Or you can also export these. We can export these control points into a TXT file. Do you want to export only enabled control points? And then if I say yes, it's going to ask me to save this as a TXT file. So you can also save those control points as a text file. I'm sure it's going to give you like these files in a well formatted text file. So that's it for today in terms of georeferencing. I hope you guys have learned quite a lot in terms of georeferencing, and are going to be able to match those raster files without georeference to their exact locations. So please like this, please share this video with other people who might want to know how to georeference, and also please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more videos to come.